Hello, ladies. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
All right, so we are here in week 4. I'm Justine Sanfilippo at happyhealthypeople.com, and I have Kajenwa and Jennifer are following my Lose Your Inches Without Losing Your Mind 10-week program, which is based on the book Lose Your Inches Without Losing Your Mind. Now, we're coming into week 4, which is all about, it's called Now Move It. Now, last week, and this is Tone It Up Tuesday, so we're being consistent with our Tuesday weekly schedule. So, so we're going to focus a little bit more on exercise this week, but first I'd like to check in with each of you to talk about what your small goals were for last week. I know that Jennifer had mentioned you were snacking healthier and eating more often during the day because it was all about eating more and eating more frequently and the reasons behind that. And you've been focusing on your water. And then Kajenwa, you were focusing on healthier snacks and then keeping track of your foods in the MyFitnessPal app. So I'd love for one of you to share with us how your week has gone.
Sure. My week was very good. I was down again about an inch from my belly button to my knees area, which is my target area. So I was very happy about that, and down 2 pounds. I know we're not supposed to be on the scale, but I did take a little quick trip, and and I was pleasantly surprised. So this week, I just wanted to briefly talk about how your program has changed my body in respects to my body is now telling me what I need to be doing. So previously I mentioned, I think it was last week or the week before, that I no longer had to set a timer to eat every couple hours. My body was now hungry during that time period and telling me it was time to eat. And I didn't even consciously realize that a lot of medications that I take daily, like an allergy pill, I take Zyrtec every day, 1 to 2 a day, Prevacid, even some anxiety medication, because we're publicists, we work in a high stress environment. It happens. But I realized all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I've only taken Prevacid 3 times since I started this program. My boyfriend's having crazy allergies, and I'm only taking allergy pills like every 2-3 days. And I didn't even realize I wasn't taking it. It just naturally progressed. Same thing with the anxiety medication that I was taking. I just forgot to take it. And normally you get heart palpitations and you just don't feel good, but I didn't have that at all. I was calm. I wasn't even aware of it. So I'm really excited that I had talked to my doctor about this, and I've just started weaning it off in even a faster than normal process. Now I know that that's not right for everybody, and you do need to check with your doctor to make sure that weaning off of any medication is the right role for you. But in my case, I was really able to jumpstart it and jump ahead of where I would normally be in this process. So I was pleasantly surprised. On a side note with that, I know we briefly discussed how I was a little upset with myself for not exercising as much as I wanted to because not feeling as great, weaning off this stuff made me take a few more naps just to get through the day. But I really need to focus, and everybody should focus on all the good things you do. Why do we always focus on the one little thing we didn't do? You try to do everything 110%, you do it 105, and then you just focus on that little percent that you didn't do. So I may not have exercised as much as I wanted to. However, I am practically taking no medication at all. And it's really only been because of this program.
I mean, that's so that's amazing. Like, I get chills all over. I'm so excited for you. And I'm wondering if you could share, what do you think it is that's really helped your body to sort of really change what it doesn't really need anymore, as far as reducing these different medications?
So the first thing I noticed when I started drinking water, and I think I said this in our first or second week's video, was I felt less irritable. I wasn't as anxious. And I always hear, and everybody always hears, oh, you got to drink water. Water's so good for you. It's great for your body. You're like, yeah, whatever. I don't have time for water. But it really is. Seriously, the people are saying this for a reason. And that was the first thing that I noticed. And then I think watching the sodium and the amount of times a day that I was eating, I didn't have that crazy panic blood sugar drop. So again, the heart palpitations and just the agita, because I would normally eat so late at night and I would eat a huge meal, wasn't happening. So I didn't need to take the Prevacid. The Zyrtec, that's a mystery to me, but I can only attribute it to drinking more water and just flushing everything out of my system.
Wow. Yeah, that would probably make sense with the Zyrtec. So, well, it's so exciting just to hear that just it's only been 3 weeks, we're getting into our 4th week, that all these small changes are really helping literally your entire life. And
I know. So surprised. Did not expect this at all, but presently, very happy.
And I love that you also mentioned that it's important not to be hard on ourselves. I think a lot of us, myself included, can be really hard on ourselves. But if you just look at all the positives that you're taking for yourself each day, it's okay if we don't do what we feel like we should be doing or we're supposed to be doing. It's like, what small steps am I taking for my health today? And what is my body telling me? So it's really important to listen. So good job. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
So Ms. Kajenwa, how was this past week for you?
Oh my God, it was intense, difficult at times. I find that for those of you out there who are still menstruating, it's this thing about the PMS and are you bloated, are you hungry? And men, by the way, have moon cycles too, okay? So those of you who are watching out there who are men, you go through cycles too, not only the woman. So there's a thing about the emotional eater, and I realized I am an emotional eater, and there are times when I'm feeling down or not amazing that I want to reach for food. And what I've been reaching for instead is, the glass of water or, the portion controlled food that I'm after and going for healthy options instead of the fatty options that are actually going to make me feel worse in the long run. Okay, so talking about like not doing what you should be doing, it's okay if you have a slice of pizza. You can actually put that in your MyFitnessPal app, and then it will calculate for you how many slices make up, 500 calories, and then you have the remainder of the balance to do what you will with. So it takes the guilt out of eating food, okay? And when you feel like you want to go off the beaten path and go for something that's not, quote, necessarily good for you, it's actually fine. I'm finding that it's a change in mindset, which other friends who are crash dieters don't get. So that's kind of what I've been going through, which is really wild. And I'm finding that I'm having less cravings for quote unquote bad foods.
Wow, that's awesome. I just took some notes here. So you touched on hormones, which everyone has,
right?
And it is very normal to get different sort of cravings during the month based on where we're at. And you mentioned emotional eating, and then you mentioned that the idea of having these, well, traditionally people think of as bad foods like pizza, French fries, whatever, and really just keeping it in the moderation and the healthy portion. And I have to say, I used to be a very, very, very emotional eater. I would eat like an entire box of cereal or a thing of chips or cookies.
Almost like binge, right? Like binge style.
Totally bingey. And then I would basically starve myself the next day to like make up for it. And then I would feel guilty either way. Anyway, this is part of the losing your mind cycle that I literally was going through. So what happened, what helped me with figuring out the emotional eating aspect is figuring out what my triggers were. So in my case, it took me years to figure it out. I wish someone had told me, but my trigger was when a guy in my life at the time made me feel bad about myself or how I looked, or would just basically put me down. I tolerated that for no apparent reason. I don't anymore. I would turn to food for comfort.
Right.
Food doesn't talk to you. And you get sort of that temporary good feeling of, oh, I feel better. And then you feel worse afterwards. So figuring out the triggers and then allowing myself to have these foods, which I still do to this day, in the appropriate portions. If I am craving pizza, I was just in Vegas. Like, you can't eat 100% healthy in Vegas. But just having that mindset of, okay, I'm going to be walking today. I'm going to have a little bit of this because it's here and I'm craving it, and it's okay. Like, everything is okay. And that's one thing I love that you mentioned with the tracking. When you are writing down what you're eating, whether it's in an app or whether it's just on a piece of paper, you can see it and really enjoy that pizza. It's going to be the best pizza in the world, or enjoy that little bit of chocolate or whatever it is. And it's the best thing in the world. And then you can see all the other choices during the day and understand that we're human and we're looking for that balance. We're not looking for perfection. So thank you so much for sharing all that with us.
So well said, Justine. Thank you so much for letting us have the pizza or the hamburger. Thank you. But speaking of Vegas, we actually had a question come in from Crystal in Philadelphia. And she says, I am inclined every now and then to have a drink. I've been drinking about 3 times a week, and I want to know how to manage drinking with my healthy eating habits.
Sure. So thank you for the question, Crystal. So we all drink for different reasons. Sometimes it's to relax, sometimes because it's a social situation. Maybe it's just a habit. It's something we're used to while we're making dinner, is having a glass of wine, or when we're going out with friends, this is something that you do. So one thing to sort of figure out is what's the most important thing for you right now? If it's overall health, if it's weight loss in particular, alcohol doesn't really help in the long run because it's digested and processed as sugar in the body. And especially if you have both alcohol and food at the same time, the body digests and processes the alcohol first and then gets to the food later. So overall, your digestion is sort of slowed down. And that's really why it kind of creates the extra girth around the stomach area. It's because it doesn't quite all get digested.
I know that one.
Yes. So, if your goal is to just have healthy balance overall, maybe your exercise, maybe you're eating basically healthy, but you want a glass of wine 3 times a week. I mean, that's your decision. But it's really about figuring out what is your overall goal. So, for example, when I was in Vegas, I'm pretty balanced, but I would allow myself, I had probably 2 drinks per day because I knew I was going out to dinner. But when I was younger, I mean, that would have been like 5 or 6 drinks. So, and I would feel terrible the next day. And then you just crave that greasy foods. And I mean, I just turned 38 and, that just doesn't work for me anymore. You just feel it more as you get older. Like if I have more than 2 glasses, I'm like, woo.
Yeah. Dunzo.
All about what your goals are in moderation.
I actually walked myself into Planet Fitness today. For those of you who are making up all kinds of excuses for why not to exercise, $15 for the month. So, do it.
Nice. And that's a great segue. So this week is all about, Now Move It. So we're in week 4. Now the goal is, yes, nutrition is really, really important. It's probably about 70% of the results you're going to see in your life, like nutrition and water, and just clean eating. Now, but we all want that, that toned look. You don't want to be like the skinny fat person, right? So where everything's just kind of hanging.
Totally.
And you want to keep your metabolism boosted forever. I mean, when I had a women's gym, my oldest member was 96 years old, and she would come in 3 times a week for 30 minutes and do her weightlifting. And she had no arthritis. She had no osteoporosis because she was keeping her bones strong by building the muscle and having that toning. Now, ladies, you were not going to bulk up like a dude if you gain muscle. Okay, that's a very specific way of training for certain women that are like in that field. But so we want to focus on getting in some cardio, which is really great for the heart, and then getting in some resistance training, which could simply be body weight training, like sit-ups, knee push-ups, squats, lunges, things like that, to really help tone the body. And then the more muscle mass you have, the more your metabolism is boosted when you're just sitting around watching TV. You're going to actually burn more calories during the day. So a couple of points I mentioned in the book is, one, it's important to do what you enjoy. If you don't like whatever you're doing with exercise, you're not going to do it. I love a class. It makes me go to the gym. Someone's telling me what to do. I don't have to think whatsoever. So like today I signed up for a spin class because I know I'm going to go and I have my bike ready. And again, there's no thought involved, which I love. Yesterday I did a whole bunch of stairs outside because I wanted to get some fresh air. So you have to figure out something that you enjoy. And then some other tips are just start small. So if you haven't worked out in a really long time, even just getting in, just focus on walking, 10, 15 minutes at a time. Just get some fresh air, walk on a treadmill, just to get the body moving and the blood pumping. And then those endorphins will kick in, and slowly you'll be able to build your stamina and to increase. So thinking about exercise, so Kajenwa, you just joined the gym. And I know, Jennifer, last week you were going on a run, and now you've rested more this week, and we have another week coming up. So what do you think each of your goals are going to be focusing on for this coming week?
I'm going to try to get back. Well, I'm going to get back to running again this week. We're not going to say try. We're going to do. And I've been doing a little bit of weight training just in my arms, which is enough for me. I just use 5-pound weights, but I have about a 15 to 20 minute regimen that I do. So I started doing that again the other day. I would like to do that probably at least 2 to 3 times a week. And I'm also getting prepped to go back to dance class. I used to be a big time dancer. That's where my heart and soul lies. So for me, the best exercise I ever had was when I danced. So I had put in a call to my old dance teacher for some private lessons, because I'm certainly not jumping into a class with a bunch of 15-year-olds who are in fantastic shape. We're going to do it at our own pace. So I'm just doing a little bit of warm-ups and things that I know will get me back into shape before I actually start taking the class. Because it's hard. When you haven't done anything in a long time, it's really hard to jump back into it.
Wow, I love that. And I love the fact that you're getting back to something that you're passionate about. I mean, dancing is so good for the body. My hips do not move like that. So I give all props to any sort of dancer that has that discipline and that ability. But good for you for even like making the call and setting up your training sessions. So good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so speaking of working out, I love to dance as well. I was just looking at the Rihanna video, and I'm like, oh my God, work, Rihanna. So she looks really good in the video. I love to dance as well. But I think that they have classes at Planet Fitness. I'm excited to try classes, and I very much like you, Justine, like to be told what to do, and then I want to walk out of there and go, oh my God, that was exhausting, but knowing that somebody else was, you know, the fire in the backside to get things going. So I'm excited to incorporate some classes in the weeks ahead, right? So I may start with 2, maybe up that to 3, and kind of see how I feel moving forward.
Wonderful. Yes, we are at the class. And I've even heard of, for those of you that do like classes, there's something now called Class Pass, where apparently, I think they have different specials, but you can try different smaller studios, maybe a yoga studio, maybe it is like a Zumba place or Pilates or whatever, so you can kind of find your classes. And I think it's really great, Kajenwa, that you're going to try all the classes at your gym, because you have to try them, see what you like, see what instructors you like, and then you finally find your ones you like to go to all the time, and then you're more motivated because you know what kind of workout you're going to get, again, without thinking. So
Exactly.
Very good. All right, ladies. Well, this has been a really fun session. I mean, we're hearing all sorts of awesome things from both of you. And for those following along, I'm sure that you're starting to see successes in your own life as well. And you're starting to see these small changes. And Jen brought up a really good point at the beginning. Like, we don't always see the overall picture of these changes we're making because, we're living day to day, but just kind of like taking a step back and be like, oh, I used to always have to do this, and I really don't have to do this anymore. And it's really pretty neat. This is a marathon and not a sprint. So it's a long journey. You guys have any last points or questions or anything before we sign off?
No, but I still intend to send the before picture, but I want to wait a couple of weeks before I send the before picture so I can be like, oh my God, I came such a long way, honey.
Love that. Very good. Okay, well, you both have an awesome week. We will talk next Tuesday, and we're all going to be so excited to hear about your progress.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Guys, all right, bye.
Bye.